special. Now I feel pretty good about this. Let me crack open a seltzer.
Namaste.
Yeah, I have been going since 5 a.m. this morning. Actually, about 5:30. I got up at 5:50, drove 40 miles to work, drove 40 miles back from work, took the kids to karate, was there for an hour, came home, realized we didn't have enough beer or seltzers, went out to the liquor store to get that, got home, went to the baño, and that's when I heard from you, Ben. Ben, how you doing?
I'm doing good because I saw Top Gun yesterday.
This is basic bitching, or you want to go right into basic bitching?
No, there's nothing there's nothing bitching about Top Gun. It was a perfect movie.
It was?
I called everyone I knew afterwards, you included. I was just so excited. I just wanted to talk about it.
Yeah.
And I think that's how everyone's feeling.
Yeah. Is there, maybe we can watch a clip of it. Do you think everybody, there was a little bug flying around. I guess it's a fruit fly in bloom, but so you went to see this movie that everybody is talking about. This movie, is it really that good,
It really actually is that good.
or is it because you've been hit with woke shit for fucking 3 years straight, nothing but woke, COVID, trans bullshit, and you finally see something that reminds you of your old life and you just held on to it tightly?
It could be a little bit of that as well. There was none of that in the movie, but mostly just the storytelling. I remember my takeaway was the pacing of the movie was just so perfect that I was on adrenaline high after adrenaline high, followed by emotional moment to adrenaline high, and it just keeps kind of peaking every time you think it's settling down. It actually gets wilder. The stunts are insane. The acting's awesome. The story's awesome. Way better than I expected it to be.
Now, you've always liked Tom Cruise and you've always liked Bruce Willis. Is it safe to say that, and Mel Gibson, sorry, you almost looked offended. Are you
Mel.
on Tom Cruise's boat 100% now, or are you kind of somewhere between Mel and Tom? They're both very meaningful to you.
Oh, that's such a
After the
tough one.
latest, are you affected by the latest film? Does that push you more towards Tom than it does Gibson? I know they're
No,
meaning.
Mel's still my numero uno, but Tom is the most fascinating human being. Like the fact that he does his own stunts and he actually flies planes, and he's just really a different kind of guy. There's really no one else like Tom Cruise. I've always joked about being obsessed with him because I am. I mean, the more you look into him, he's a fascinating guy. Scientology worked out for him. It obviously did something, or maybe it was already in him, but he obviously has this personality where he just goes, and has to be the best at everything. My old English teacher in high school had a story. A friend of his met Tom Cruise. They were on, maybe it was a cruise. They were somewhere, and Tom Cruise was
I don't think Tom Cruise is on a cruise. He doesn't strike me as the type that goes on cruises.
yeah, it might not
He,
have been a cruise, but so he
he's
saw
got a
Tom
private island.
Cruise.
He's got his own yacht, for crying out loud. I mean, I don't know that he does, but I assume. Look at it. Look
You
at his
don't think
hair.
he's not gonna be on Carnival. But so anyway, this guy saw Tom Cruise on a treadmill, and this guy was on a treadmill, and Tom Cruise was beside him, and he said he was giving him these really intense vibes, like kept looking at him and kept speeding up his treadmill so that Tom Cruise was insisting on running faster than this guy. And he said it was really awkward. And he said later on, Tom Cruise came up to him and was like, "Hey man, I'm sorry if that was weird back there." He's like, "I'm just like really weirdly competitive."
Wow, I think that sums him up. I could see
That's
that.
exactly what I was thinking. That's Tom Cruise. Like he's the guy who gets beside you on the treadmill, even though there's 15 other open treadmills. He gets right beside you and he looks at you as he lets you know that he's running faster than you.
And he's so skinny and so beautiful too. We didn't mention that. He's a
He
good
was
looking
60
chap.
years old in this movie, and he was just as handsome as ever, if not more handsome, to be honest with
Wait,
you.
he's 60 in real life?
You got that right.
Get out. He looks fucking wow. Okay, you could see it there a little bit. Kind of his get out. What a badass. I think I like him more.
Yeah, he looks cooler as an old man.
Damn. And to think the way he treated the girl from, what was the movie called? Apple. What was the young sitcom he was with? Who was the gal he was with from the girl from the Lakes of a Thousand Places or something? What was the name
Katie
of that?
Holmes.
Yeah. I guess he treated her poorly, but he's a great guy.
I think what he did is he was overbearing, right? And he kept asking her to be on his level, and no one's capable of being on his level. So he broke her down, but I bet she looks back on it with great fondness now. It's my guess. I've been guilty of that with women in my life. They've told me that I'm too much, and I'm too up their ass. I'm too on their shit. I'm too intense. I'm too, they always say, I've heard from every girl I've ever dated, they feel like they're walking on eggshells. And I'm like, I don't understand why, because I'm really nice. Maybe they should just tighten up.
Okay. I mean, that's you got a point. Let's
Katie
see what
Holmes, Bobby Wooten 3 had wide smiles during red carpet debut
what
as couple.
that's
Are you
that.
playing us some QAnon shit? Is this some QAnon Katie Holmes shit?
Yeah, I just want to see what she says about Tom Cruise here real quick, and then we can move on from basic bitching.
This is not even basic bitching. Basic bitching, you'll know. Basic bitching is when we cover the news.
All right, because I don't see the here. Katie Holmes talks about her lucky Ocean's 8 life after Tom Cruise. Okay. They were madly in love, man. Whether you want to, I mean, these are soulmates. But look how overbearing he is. She can't even walk into a room without.
We were both young when I first saw you.
All right, this isn't what we're looking for. Give me. You know what the problem is? I'm searching Bing.
That little short moment of that song is gonna flag the whole episode for copyright. Maybe not. I think you can play up to 30 seconds, so we might be okay.
Yeah, that was like 11. So let me just real quick type in.
Before we go to the news segment, you had a bomb threat at your school today, right?
Yes, we had a bomb threat, and I thought this would go. Maybe this isn't basic bitching. Maybe you're right, but I want to bring up something that bothers me about how schools deal with bomb threats. And this wasn't a bomb threat because I could understand people ignoring bomb threats this day and age, because they never come true. They don't come true in the U.S. When's the last time you heard of a bomb at a school? That doesn't happen very often, and I haven't heard of one since Ted Kaczynski, right? The Unabomber was. And he was a grown man, like ex-CIA guy. But I don't like, they all do this. And we get a warning much later about what's going on. And it's as a teacher, as a firsthand person involved in educating students and protecting them, maybe we shouldn't keep it a big secret. So like we had an emergency meeting after school today, and nobody was aware of what was happening until we attended the meeting, and they go, "Oh, by the way, you were under a considerable threat today, but you weren't really in danger. It was a considerable threat." And we met with the state detectives, and we met with the bomb unit, we met with the gun unit, and I met with the district leaders and the safety officers, and it was a major safety breach. But you guys were never in danger. I go, what? And
did you find out specifics on what it was?
I think this is why I'm taking off tomorrow. Well, it couldn't have been a young man that I had written up and emailed the person in charge of following up with those things. So I put an email out with a counselor and with somebody else, and it said, "Would you please?" I said, "So and so has been saying some really dangerous things lately. Talking about shooting up schools and stuff like that, and how he wants to come in here and fucking kill every male teacher in here, and he's going to do so." And the students talk a lot of shit, but like in this day and age, like it was pretty specific how he wanted just the the male teachers, and he wanted. And so I just said, and I wrote him up. Let me stop sharing.
Is he nice to you, this kid?
Yeah, pretty much. I talked to his grandmother often. Not often. 3 times I've talked to her. She's really we can talk about this more because I'm leaving the teaching profession, so this is my last week having to abide by certain rules as an instructor and stuff like that. I can talk all the shit I want going forward. But his grandmother's like, I've lost this kid. She goes, I don't know how I can reach him. He goes, he does drugs on the corner, he leaves, and the grandmom lived right outside Virginia in a $1.3 million house, okay, alongside a fairway. And she was one of the African American representatives for the Clinton administration.
Mm-hmm.
So she's a big NAACP type, and she's involved in my local school. And I don't know how she ended up in this particular neighborhood, but she did. And I'll throw out taxes as my guess, because if you looked at how she lived previously versus how she lives now, I don't want to get into it, but this young man she takes care of is her daughter's kid, and her daughter is addicted to fentanyl, heroin, and blunts. She smokes blunts and drinks. This woman is apparently a catastrophe, and she's been in and out of the system. When she had this boy in particularly, and I'm getting way too specific about something that's not, but he had fetal alcohol syndrome. But he comes in, he wants to kill everybody, especially the males. I write it up. They don't say shit. He was there today. My first thought when we had an emergency meeting was, oh, they decided to actually look into this boy's threat, but it wasn't him at all. So I can only imagine what the real one is. Now I'm playing golf with the security this weekend on Sunday, so I'll be able to update you guys next week's podcast on to what the actual thing was. I can imagine it was probably pretty good, because
Well, it's weird. Like,
go ahead.
When
Sorry.
I eavesdropped on your class last week, the basic, like, you have a good relationship with the kids. The kids like you, but they're still crazy. And I heard language I've
And you
never
heard the
heard
middle
in a
school.
school. Yeah, they were like, the kids were like, "Yo, fuck you, Mitch. You bitch ass motherfucker. Fuck you. No, fuck you." And then you hear them all like fighting with each other. You say they're like putting each other in headlocks, and like people are breaking computers and flipping over desks. You really do work in this insane world. It reminds me of one of those old 80s action movies about how bad the kids are, and the substitute teacher has to like kill the gang leader.
It's Kindergarten Cop, but with high schoolers and middle schoolers who have a bad life and don't always have a bad life. Just they all want love at the end of the day. And I hate to turn this into that. I'm not trying to make it sound like lovey-dovey, but they all want just attention and love. So if you cradle them, you can go up to the hardest motherfucker. And this guy just fucking shanked 2 kids, and they bled out, and they were at Union Hospital. And you hear all the details of these kids. And then you see him, and he's like, bitch ass motherfucker. I'm tired of seeing your bitch ass face, bitch. And you just come up and you just bear hug him. Like, one of my go-tos is, I said, get your goddamn hands behind your back. I said, boy, you've been putting up too much. And I'll kind of put him up against the whiteboard. And then we're both laughing, and they're receiving this touch that they miss because they don't have fathers, right? So this male on male kind of touch, this physicality is so important, especially because they're not allowed to play in sports because they lost the opportunity to play in sports because their grades or their violence, or because they're not. Maybe we can change that. I hate to be a softie, but allowing them to play in sports would be a great relief. I'm seeing more and more. It'd be great, right? I mean, I don't want to go on and on, but Ben, go ahead, talk to me.
No, that's beautiful. I'm very proud of the work you've done with these kids. In my brief time, it's not something that most people could do. And the way that you handle their aggression and you never let it get to you, and you give them back love and a certain sternness, but not mean. You're not mean to them. And I think it's a really beautiful thing. And I think they're going to really miss you at that school. I've learned a lot in the brief time that I've observed your classroom. I just my jaw was dropped. I'm like, what? These kids are just, yo, fuck you, bitch ass mother. And some of them sound kind of scary. Some of them are, you know, like 240-pound, 6-foot tall fellas.
Yeah. Well, my second school, alternative school that I taught at, you actually showed up and for career day, and you did life as a musician. You came in and played us a song, and we had several classes push in, and you were no nonsense. Can you remember? Do you remember pushing in? That was also an alternative situation. Probably not as
That
bad
was
as what I'm
awesome.
dealing with now. But when I first arrived, and I want to talk about that because you were hilarious, and the kids wanted to be, when you left, they're like, I want to be a musician. But you gave them every reason not to be.
Yeah. I told them the truth. I'm like, look, I live in a bus. Like, I don't make hardly any money. I get like almost no respect. I get no recognition for my work. I only do it because I enjoy it. At the end of the day, I love it, so I do it. But believe me, kids, like, you can't have a house, you can't have a family, you can't have any success by the measurement of society if you're going to be a musician, unless you play bass in like a some kind of Christian rock band. Then you'll probably do really well.
They do.
I fantasized about that.
Did you?
Absolutely. I've been fantasizing about that even lately. I'm like, if I like wanted to play guitar or something for like a big Christian, like a big church, they'd probably pay me better than I've ever been paid in my life. And it'd be like the same, like 4 chords. And I love those church songs, at least the ones from the 90s we grew up on.
They're beautiful, those church songs. They'll bring me to tears. My son goes to sleep with them. My wife will play them lightly in the background, and I'll walk in, and it's this beautiful hymn, you know, and I go, oh my God, it's so touching. It's about,
that's good vibes right there.
Just good vibes, man. So, and they take care of their musicians too. Like, you know, the church makes the most money in the
seriously.
So they're all paid. They all have houses.
I know a lot of artists figured that out, and I don't think they've ever like said it out loud, but it's obvious that if you've pursued a path of like a Christian rock band or like a Christian artist, like you've got a built-in audience. Boom. I released that one Christian-y song, Follow the Thread, and people loved it on InfoWars.
So
people went crazy for it, you know? And because I think also God blesses you if you do good things. So it was nice to write a song that was like, I love God. Yeah, I'm going to give a shot. I believe in God 1,000. I was talking to an atheist the other day, and it was so awkward. He like just out of nowhere, he was kind of drunk. He goes, oh, I'm an atheist. And I was like, are you sure you're an atheist? I was like, to me, that sounds the same as saying I'm a religious fanatic. I'm like, it's too black and white. How are you going to say, yeah, like you don't know? I'm like, can you admit you don't know? I'm like, because I don't know. I'm like, I believe a certain thing. I believe this is all planned and this is all perfectly made. And I believe God is very real and very involved. I'm like, but can you say that you know? And he admitted he didn't know. Wow, look at that short hair.
I was sitting alone trying to make myself known when a voice came from somewhere inside.
That mic looks familiar.
So follow the thread and free up my head and leave every wrong note behind me. I understood and agreed it was good, so I laid down and let the Lord guide me. I didn't stop till I got to the top, and I realized he wasn't beside me.
That's my golf buddy on the piano.
I lost my way when I made it my way.
That's the guy that gave me golf help?
Yeah.
No way.
Remember it when it all
He's
made
just really good at everything.
And Johnny looks so
Lord is
fucking
living
cool.
inside.
And Jason, the one on harmonica, is like one of the coolest fucking dudes ever
God
too.
won't leave me alone.
I love that drum part.
Yeah, my
me too.
That soft
God
ride.
won't leave me alone. My God won't leave me alone. Yeah, my God won't leave me alone. I knew he'd be back to remind me to follow the thread and free up my head and leave every wrong note behind me.
God, you look great.
Desire's the trap, keeps my soul from the path, and my mind is a map going nowhere. In my heart there's a spot running deeper than thought, and I'm still trying to find my way back there. You see, I lost my way when I made it my way, latched onto the world outside me. Remember it when it all made perfect sense. The good Lord is living inside me.
Wow.
And my God won't leave me alone.
Wow.
Yeah, my God won't leave me alone. My God won't leave me alone.
We could go on forever with this, but these people are gonna get an idea of what you do behind the scenes. They know you as the funniest fucking guy on the podcast, but they don't see the meaning that you put in this. When you said you were thinking about being a Christian singer, you weren't fucking kidding.
No, not at all. No. Like there's money in it. God would bless it. It would be a good thing. So I'll keep my eye open for that.
It is so gorgeous, that song.
Funny thing about that song, I'll never forget the day that I wrote it. I wrote it in like 15 minutes. I was just sitting there and it just came to me, and like the whole thing that just came out, like it's a lot of words in that song. And words are typically what I struggle with. It takes me a long time to fill in the melody with the words I think are right. But that one, it was just like, boom, it was all there. It was a very spiritual experience for me. I was like, wow, I'm writing basically like a Christian song here. What are you going to do?
That one was featured on InfoWars, right?
Oh yeah. The producer loves it. Like he jams that in his spare time.
Now I'm going to pop up the Twitter segment, unless you want to not go there right now.
Fun fact, it actually made Harrison cry when I played it in studio.
No way.
Yeah.
Do we have a copy of that? I wish we played that one.
I can still bring it. I mean, the sound wasn't as good because they weren't set up for live music. They never had live music in there. So right. I just used the one mic and tried to like hold the guitar up to it and like do it that way.
I think I remember that. You're talking about the desk mic for the news broadcasting.
Yeah.
It wasn't it wasn't meant maybe for recording acoustic with vocals. You also did the vocals through that.
Yeah, and there was no reverb. I asked him, and the guy's like, "Nah." He's like, "In post, I could probably throw something on." He's like, "We don't have reverb for these kind of broadcasts." He was really cool. He was like, "Damn, I didn't even think about that." I'm like, "I know, shit, me neither." You got to have some
like
verb.
You were the first recording artist to be on InfoWars, pretty much live in studio.
Yeah, that was
I'm willing to bet you're one of the first to do that. That's badass.
I'm the only one I've ever seen. So that was very cool, man. The energy in the room was so good. The guys, they're such good guys there. They're not the Nazis that the world paints them to be. They're really sweet, family-oriented, really kind people.
No,
all right. Should we begin the basic bitching segment and cover some Twitter news?
Go ahead and start us up with basic bitching. We have a new theme song. Play it!
Play it!
Play it!
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play it in the background. I'm going to overdub the actual thing because I finished it today and I'm so excited about it. Here it goes.
We'll take a look at the news that's got the whole world itching. Maybe it's time for some basic bitching. Basic bitching.
It's so stupid. I had so much fun putting it together. All right, so let's begin. What's going on in the mainstream world? What are people basically bitching about?
We could go to Fox News, we could go to CNN, but why not start with what the people are discussing? Something that really struck a chord with me was this image here it's the meme, the hard to swallow pills meme. And it says, hard to swallow pills, weapons of war are literally the whole fucking point of the Second Amendment. You know, if you think about the folks who contributed in writing the Constitution of the United States of America, these are rebels. These are people who said, fuck you, Britain. We are moving away from you. And so that you don't become like Britain again, we're going to give people weapons of war. Go fuck yourself. Now, back then, the government and the people were on an even ledge, right? The rebels, the revolutionaries practiced guerrilla warfare to succeed in beating the British government. They were on an even level. Nowadays, we're not even close, not even fucking close. But we can buy a rifle which might be used in infantry, the AR-15, which you know way more about than me. I don't have one, but it's on my list of something I want to buy. Weapons of war are literally the whole fucking point of the Second Amendment. Biden wants to make it about deer, killing hunting. No. What we need is something that's going to compete with what the government has. That's the whole point.
Yep. And then the other, hopefully, beautiful thing about this whole system is hopefully our military is not so far gone and so far indoctrinated they would turn against their own citizens. Like historically, they've been very right-wing, awesome people. You meet a lot of military people, especially down here in the country, and they're always cool. They're nice. They're funny. They hate Joe Biden. They all have this in common. So you see the move they're making to radicalize military left wing. They're trying to push that left wing shit on the military. I don't think it's taken. I don't think it's working out like how they planned.
Yeah. Another thing not working out with how it's planned too, and if you don't mind, I'll go ahead and share this, is Ukraine. This tweet stuck out to me. If you listen to the news that you hear on the television in your house, Ukraine's winning, right? You hear, oh, Ukraine has decided to give up Kyiv because they're backtracking and they're going to find greater resilience in the next neighborhood. Like, they're writing paragraphs to make it look, they're going out of their way to be like, no, Putin doesn't have a chance. Putin has a chance. Putin has a big chance. In fact, can I look up Putin or Russian territory Ukraine? I mean, we're not going to get an honest answer out of Bing, but if I could just get a map, I would love to show you how far in. Okay, so we're just looking at Ukraine as a whole here, and this is so interesting. I'm glad to pull this up. This is what I'm hearing. The media specialist at the school that I worked at previously is a 100% Ukrainian. And she agreed with me about a point that we made. It was being made early in the war. It continues to be a point, but people say it's a conspiracy theory point. But this map kind of points it out. No pun intended. It showcases that the red is where you hear we're mostly Russians, where they speak the Russian language. And to your left, on the western part of Ukraine, is where they speak Ukrainian. Well, the red sympathizes with Russia.
No.
A lot of the red sympathizes with Russia. So they willingly give up their arms. In fact, at Donetsk, and some of these cities here, I remember telling my wife, they go, oh, Russia has sacked Donetsk. And I go, what the fuck is Donetsk? And I look it up, I Wikipedia'd it, and it goes, it might not have been Donetsk. It could have been Malkuvka, or could have been, one of those. But it was right on the fucking eastern side. And it goes, formerly, originally a Russian territory, originally part of Russia. And I go, oh my God, these guys are just getting back what they rightfully own. And anyway, let me move forward because this is beside the point.
I wish you could find a map of the territories that have been taken so far. I feel like I saw one in passing.
I think it might be on my Twitter, but anyway, don't blame the messenger. But Ukraine is not winning, and by the way, no refunds.
Yeah, exactamundo. Well, that money has all been laundered. I mean, give me a fucking break.
100%. 100%. It's like, it's ridiculous. There's an actor in the middle of everything. If I'm just going to get my segment over with, here is Baltimore City 7th grader. We're having mysterious deaths, and they all seem to be happening amongst people who did get the vaccine. You could say that has nothing to do with it, Danny, or you could say there could be something there. But Baltimore City 7th grader. When have you heard of a 7th grader dying of a heart attack? When? Baltimore City 7th grader died of a heart attack while on field trip, pronounced dead in the hospital in Elkton, Maryland, which is right by me. WBAL News. And here's the young man, Thumani Brown. Looks bright. Looks like
Yeah,
he
he
had a bright
looks
future.
like a really sweet boy.
Really does. And we see this everywhere. So every once in a while, I'll just say, that touches my soul. I have to retweet it. Here's Stephen Bridges saying the Pfizer documents show that they knew that 35 teenagers had heart damage a week after being injected with the mRNA vaccines and did not tell the public. The Pfizer documents that were released 2 days ago show that they knew that 35 teenagers that have gotten it, now that they typically test, it could be from 100 to 200 would be a bigger, 900 would be one of the biggest studies. So these are small scale tests, and 35 of them already had major heart damage just 1 week after, but they were immune to telling the public. They decided not to tell the public. Here's some girls on a sheep in Cornwall.
That's a different direction. It's funny, we don't get strikes and flags and shit anymore these days. I guess the narrative is lightened up. That's, unless one of your like liberal obsessed stalker people stopped reporting us every episode.
Yeah. This is Sherry Tenpenny was kicked off of Truth Social. I thought Truth Social was going to be, she is a vaccine skeptic, and they got rid of her. This
of course it is. That's Thomas Trump's page, and Thomas Trump loves the vaccine. He's the father of the vaccine.
Oh shit!
He still pushes it till this day.
Town Hall 1644, of course, in the Netherlands, is a gorgeous building. I don't know if you've seen the architecture of today, but back when 400 years before we were born, they managed to make more beautiful buildings than they do now, for whatever that means.
Can you go to your DMs real quick and show the video I sent you? I haven't watched it yet, about Matthew McConaughey saying that they need to take our guns away from us.
Oh, you have not sent that yet? Oh,
I sent it. I haven't seen it. There it is.
You know what? Every one of these parents wanted what they asked us for. But every parent separately expressed in their own way to Camilla and me.
He's really using his Texas accent.
That they want their children's dreams to live on. That they want their children's dreams to continue to accomplish something after they are gone. They want to make their loss of life matter.
What are these stupid?
We heard from so many people, right? Families of the deceased, mothers, fathers, sisters, brothers, Texas Rangers, hunters.
If you had an important statement, would you wear goofy glasses? I'm not fucking kidding. Would you wear glasses that showed purple in some directions and that no. You get rid of the hipster glasses.
If I had
I would look right into that.
I wouldn't outsource it to an actor, because I think people should be smart enough to not listen to actors.
So what you're saying was this statement's not written by Matthew, is it?
I mean, it could be, but like Matthew, he's a Texas boy, right? Like, how many guns does he got? I know he has guns. I remember him talking about it with Joe Rogan. At least that's what I remember him saying. And he was raised in that culture, and he understands that this had nothing to do with guns. It had everything to do with psychosis. MK Ultra induced psychosis.
And responsible gun owners who won't give up their Second Amendment right to bear arms. And you know what they all said? We want secure and safe schools, and we want gun laws that won't make it so easy for the bad guys to get these damn guns. You know what? Everyone
is this a
okay.
I almost said Chrysler. This is it's not a car commercial. He seems to be reading a I mean, the way he reads, it's as if he's on stage, like prepping for a new role, like at the end, especially.
And responsible gun owners who won't give up their Second Amendment right to bear arms. And you know what they all said? We want secure and safe schools, and we want gun laws that won't make it so easy for the bad guys to get.
That's a part. He's playing a part. I mean, whether you want to hear it or not, he's playing a part. Dave, it's telling me that we have 40 minutes on this new one, and we can start and finish on podcast number 2, maybe we can take a 5-minute and finish 15 minutes and be done with it. We could either put them together as one episode. Well, how do you want to deal with this? I have 10 minutes left.
We'll turn it into one. Just finish the rest of the basic bitching. Go to the rest of the Twitter news stuff. We'll get that out of the way. When we come back, we're going to talk about interesting things.
Okay. Did you have anything that I'm going to pull up? I'm going to share my screen.
In your DMs, I sent you a couple more just kind of regular mainstream talking points.
Oh my God, you sent so much stuff here. It's so good. This one catches my eye. Okay, it says, this little girl was at a brunch a few weeks ago and her family was encouraging her to tip and engage with me. It's always so refreshing to see families actively destigmatizing and changing narratives around bodies and sexuality. At the end, her mom came up to me and said, thank you for showing her that you being a strong woman is okay. And I told her, no, thank you for exposing her to, how do you say that word? Burlesque? And for encouraging her to experience it. Thank you, Dominic Michael, for capturing the moment. What we have here is a man associating with a toddler.
Yeah,
looks
exactly.
Like your daughter, Ben. Looks like your daughter.
Looks younger. That kid looks 5-6 years old.
And she's stuffing his ass with dollar bills. Stuffing his ass with dollar bills, and this liberal in the background with the hat on is setting this thing.
How about the guy?
Moment.
How about the guy sitting there with the goofy smile? I had to circle him, and when I was drunk, I had to repost it and say, "Don't be like this guy," because this guy is just smiling like, what?
No, he's just looking on. Yeah, no, I've seen that face before. That guy is in a marriage he doesn't like, and he's with this woman who encourages men to play with his daughter and vice versa. This is uncomfortable. The fact that his cock is right about where this 7-year-old's hand is. Explain this to me, Ben. What's the real meaning behind this? Where are we going as a society and culture?
It's part of the spiritual warfare. I mean, the godless freaks have made their move, and a lot of people are falling for it. A lot of people will never fall for it.
I had a few friends of a friend that we both know, who, let me say hi to my wife. Baby, we were just looking at this man and this little girl who was he has a good butt. There's no doubt about it. But hold on, let me go ahead and share that screen again.
Does he have a good butt? I mean,
he has does he have a nice
beautiful
butt? Okay, he's got a good culo, but they've encouraged a 7-year-old, imagine Sarita, coming up.
And why the parents permit that?
The parents love it because that's part of
no, that's not part of my life. It's horrible.
See why I love my wife?
She knows it's sicko.
160 IQ listeners now know why I have my wife that I love so much. Yes, I do want food. Ben pulled me into doing this.
Do you want to we've only got a couple more of the basic bitch, and then we can move on to the cool shit when you get done with what you're doing.
That'd be awesome. I'm just gonna have a quick treat. You're pulling up a lot of really hot topics.
Look at that one there. I haven't watched that yet.
All right, here we go. Here is the gay, black, White House. What do they call those people? The speaker,
press secretary.
Press secretary.
Position to really start. What we're trying to say, what I'm trying to say to you, is that the economy is in a better place than it has been historically, and so we feel here at this administration and other experts as well, is that we feel that we are in a good position to take on inflation. We are in a
I don't know why it wants to stop.
A good position to really start really working on lowering prices. What we're trying.
This is called doublespeak, and it was warned to us from the great writer of 1984. It's doublespeak. We are in a financial position to be able to take on inflation. And like that kind of doublespeak works on the brainwashed masses, but you don't take on inflation by happily paying the higher prices. That's not how this works. Like inflation is inflation. It's not like what she's saying it has no basis in reality, but she's saying it confidently, and she's saying it multiple times in different ways to make people like, yeah, we're in a good spot financially, like trying to suggest maybe people have enough money saved or something where they're not going to lose everything by
These are
paying
the same.
$10 a gallon.
These are the same people who are suggesting we buy electric vehicles right now. They're saying get an electric vehicle. They're 60 grand. I looked them up. I said, baby, they're putting us in this position where we have to, I have a turbo diesel car and I have a couple other gas guzzlers. And I said, shit, oh my God, it's like $5 for this. It's $4.50 for that. And for premium gas, it's like almost $5. And as a school teacher, I don't make a lot of money. Now, when our 140 IQ listeners start to pony up a little bit, we should be fine. But right now I'm struggling a little bit. And it's just a mess, Ben. I don't even know how to say it anymore. I have 1 minute left. We have to close we have 1 minute. Let's I'm getting a warning from Skype. I have 1 minute.
Do we have one more piece of mainstream banter we wanted to comment on, or is it all just still the same? It's all just Ukraine, Second Amendment, Gay Pride Month taking over the world. You can't even go to Walmart without the gay pride flags there by the Doritos with the gay prides and everything. It's not going to lick itself.
Here's some innocent kids and they're having to see this sign that says it's not gonna lick itself.